Hi to everyone. Welcome back to the topic of types of utility and the concepts of it. So in last class we are in a discussion of types of utility, and even we entered with a small examples of how to measure the utility, methods of measuring utility. So and there are the two approaches are there, which are there on your screen. So first one is called cardinal approach, next one is called ordinal approach. So before leading to the next the deeper side of these approaches, so let's back once recall the meaning of it, so that it will be helpful for us to lead with the deeper side of these approaches. Now, cardinal approach, it's an approach where consumers behavior, the level of satisfaction, level of utility, if it is possible to measure and express in numerical values, then that is called cardinal approach. If it is not possible to measure and in numbers, but it can be compared by putting only ranks as first and second, okay, then that is called ordinal approach. So in cardinal approach, according to Alfred Marshall, the person who has coined this approach, cardinal approach of utility analysis, he says that whatever a consumer pays amount to buy or to get any kind of a good or service, then that is an amount money, you may measure in rupee or dollar or dinar or dirhams, whatever, then that is the quantum of satisfaction, then that can be measured. But it is not so by another two more economists, where they have coined the new approach, then that is called ordinal approach, where, and there are the two economists are there, namely first one R.G.D. Allen and John Richard Hicks, J.R. Hicks. They highlight as the utility and satisfaction, they are subjective one, which are deals with the inner feelings of a consumer. It cannot be measured in numbers like numerical values like 1 to 3 kilograms and all, rupees and all. It can be compared only by putting ranks as first and second. Compared to this one, that one, likewise we can compare, but not in numerical values. I'll go with a small example so that we can enter to the deeper side of it. Okay. For example, assume there is a running race is there. Okay. Assume there are 3 participants are there. How many? 3. First one is a well-trained athlete who can run like a Usain Bolt, one thing. And second one is a normal fellow, okay, who can just go for morning walk, okay. And third one, the candidate is like me, fat body, okay, not able to walk properly. In such case, now if you put under a particular race of 100 meters, then who will come first? Obviously, the person which we mentioned first one, the athlete was trained for, right? So he'll come first. Obviously, the person who will make normal jogging and walking on daily basis, he'll come maybe the second, and the third one will be obviously the third one. Okay. Now the question is, if you want to put a ranks as 1, 2, 3, we can put rank athlete as a 1, that jogging fellow as a 2, and the third one, me, as a 3. The question is about, when first one is the first, how can you call him as a first? Means when you compare the second, but you cannot call it as how much he is a first, right? Likewise, you can recall your previous class example, when I offer 2 to 3 types of juices to you, and you drink all juice glasses, okay. Then when I come to put numbers, you cannot put it in numbers, but you can compare. But compared to apple, gives me orange as more By compared to orange, mango gives me more, but you can compare, but how much? That is not possible. Likewise, ordinal approach is one approach. Ordinal approach is one approach where the level of consumer satisfaction and utility cannot be measured in numbers. It can be compared only by putting ranks. Okay, but if it is possible to put it in numbers, and which is helpful to do basic mathematical operation like addition, subtraction, okay, multiplication and division and all, then that is possible, quite possible, according to which approach? Cardinal approach. So let's back to the today's session discussion, that is about why we need to study these need. Okay, without understanding a need, that will be a useless of wasting our time, energy, money, everything behind the topics. So in connection with that thing, so one thing we need to understand, see, there are the four functions of economy. Functions of economy. So production, okay, consumption, distribution, exchange of goods and services. If you have any of one sector becomes disabled, other sectors can't do anything. For example, if the consumption become zero, then there is no use of neither production nor distribution nor exchange. Both are interlinked. That's what it is called as a functions of economy, right? So when it comes to this function, consumption, obviously from consumers, okay, you must understand what is the consumption pattern of different consumers in a society. Without understanding the consumers' preferences, consumers' needs and all, that will be the stupidity of producing different types of goods and services in the market. In such condition, so the pioneers of economics, okay, so here when it comes to the Alfred Marshall, he go to the deeper side of a cardinal approach. He says that there is one basic agenda is there in economics, that is unlimited wants and limited resources. That's the thing which we have already discussed in the starting classes. So the available resources are limited, but needs and wants are unlimited. So there is always gap between these unlimited wants and limited resources. And economists are tried to make balance of these. So in 500 years or 700 years before, when you go by the history, there are unlimited resources are there, limited wants are there due to population and their needs. Then they become as a balance. Okay, resources and needs become somewhat the same in the period of 18th or 19th century. After the First World War and the Second World War, the things have changed. That is, world resources become limited and there is unlimited needs and wants. To fill this gap, so most of the economists have tried to give a solution with the different theories, with the different laws. So one thing you must remember always, if any of a problem comes to the country, only one doctor will come and rescue the country, and that the doctor is not MBBS doctor, neither chartered accountant, and the doctor name called economist. Clear? In such case, so Professor Alfred Marshall, he says that any of a unlimited want can be convertible into limited want, subject to certain assumptions. So in connection with that thing, one law has been emerged, and that the law name called law of diminishing marginal utility. Diminishing marginal utility. So what is this law? At the same time, you need to understand what is the reason behind to learn about this law. So one thing is very clear, you cannot spend your time, money and energy only of understanding certain thing when there is no use in your future. And you need to understand every concept, every element, especially in economics, which is a part of your life. And I must say, economics is a life itself. You cannot find any of the subject without economics. Okay, now coming to the topic, see, any of our unlimited want can be convertible into limited want. Our research has been made by German economist, and the German economist name called Professor Gosson, he made one research, he made one analysis that the thing is any of a unlimited want can be convertible into limited want. How? For example, see, the viewers, most of them are music lovers are there, right? Okay, foodie are there, many are there. But at the time lab, you may stop certain things at a certain time. Why it is so? For example, you might have heard about the n number of films before they are released on worldwide. There is a huge hike is there in the market. Okay, in such case, expectation will be generally more. You may recall your memory, Bahubali or some other films and all, or Kabali or some South Indian or North Indian films. So initially you may have a most of expectation before when you watch a film. But if you watch continuously that film daily thrice, and if you continue for 1 year, then what will be your satisfaction means? It may come down. In such case, if any of a consumer start using or consuming same need, same want long term, that unlimited desire can be convertible into a limited desire. Then this is the story behind what Gosson has highlighted. Any of a unlimited want, any of a unlimited want, not all the unlimited wants, any of a particular unlimited want can be convertible into a limited want. Then that's what is also called as Gosson's first law, and it is also called as Gosson's psychological law of consumption. But it was developed by Professor Alfred Marshall. Are we clear? In such case, we go by the chart, table, then we go by the graphical representation of how consumer behavior is different in the same market and different market. Then how it is helpful in the part of the economics, at the same time how it is helpful in your future and every part of your life and every life. So you can understand with a small example. So on continuation with the law of diminishing marginal utility, it was first coined by the Professor H. Gosson, who is a German economist. And the second one, the development of this theory is perfectly elaborated by another economist, who is also known as a pioneer of microeconomics, named called Professor Alfred Marshall. Okay, and this law, other names are there. So first one is called psychological law of consumption, and next one Gosson's first law. According to this law, when consumers start consuming any of a particular commodity, if it keeps on going consumption in any of a particular commodity, then on every successive units, the level of satisfaction, the level of additional utility will come down. Okay, and even it may come down to zero, and even it may falls to negative. That's what it is termed as a law of diminishing marginal utility. Diminishing stands here downline. Okay, reducing, coming down. Clear? So here the law of diminishing marginal utility theory states that when consumers start consuming or goes on consuming a particular commodity continuously, one after the another, the level of satisfaction, the level of the utility, okay, will come down on every successive units. Clear? So ನೀವು ಕೂಡ ನೋಡಬಹುದು, when you start observing any of particular music, not general music, particular music, for a long term you may get bored. Okay, ನೀವು ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ನಾನು AR ರೆಹಮಾನ್ ತಮನ್ ಅವ್ರ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಗೆ ಡೈ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಫ್ಯಾನ್, ನಾನು ಅವ್ರ ಸೀನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಭಾಳ ಇಷ್ಟ, ಅವ್ರ ಸಾಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಭಾಳ ಇಷ್ಟ. ಓಕೆ, ಫೈನ್, ಗುಡ್. ಒಂದೇ ಸಾಂಗ್ಸ್ನ ಡೈಲಿ ಒಂದು 500 ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ನ ಅದನ್ನು ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಇಯರೆಲ್ಲ ನಿನಗೆ ಕೇಳಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರೋಂಥ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಿಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಷನ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸಲ ಬರೋಂಥ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ 1 ಇಯರ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಸಿಗೋಂಥ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಅಪ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತಾ, ಡೌನ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಡೌನ್ವರ್ಡೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡೋಂಥ ಕಿಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ is somewhat different than the last one. Likewise, some people are mango lovers, right? I too. Mango is one of attractive fruit. on the number of fruits in the market. ಆ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎಂಥವ್ರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ತಿನ್ನಬೇಕು ಅಂತ, ಜನರಲಿ ಕೆಲವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋನು ಕೂಡ ಎಷ್ಟು ತಿಂತೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಅಷ್ಟು ತಿಂತೀನಿ, ಒಂದು ಟೋಟಲ್ 5-6 kg ತಿಂದುಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಈ ಗಿಡದಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಖಾಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಬಿಲ್ಡಪ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ತಿಂದುಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂಥವ್ರಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಆಫರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು 5 ಮಂಗಳೂರು ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋಸ್ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಬರ್ತವೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರಿ, ಅವನು 1 ತಿಂತಾನೆ, 2ನೇ ತಿನ್ನೋಕ್ಕೆ ಆಸೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ತಿನ್ಬೋದೇನೋ, 3ನೇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, 4ನೇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಾನೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? Then point is very simple. One can convert any of unlimited want into limited want. You may list out your unlimited wants on particular goods and services. ನಿನಗೆ ಯಾವುದಂದರೆ ಭಾಳ ಇಷ್ಟ, ಒಂದ್ಸಲಿ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಯಾವುದಂದ್ರೆ ನನಗೆ ಭಾಳ ಇಷ್ಟ, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲವರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಪಡಿಬಹುದು. ಅದನ್ನೇ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ನೀನು ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಏನಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆರ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? So likewise, this law has been made, and in further classes you will come to understand how this and law is applicable on solving of basic problems of economy. Basic problems of economy, you know that thing? There are 3 are there. How many are there? 3 are there. Okay, and those 3 are what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. 3 basic problems of economy are there. How this a law is helpful to solve those problems, and any of the problem you take. Okay, any of the problem you take, there is a the guarantee is there is a solution in economics. Okay, in such case, so we'll continue in the next class with a detailed discussion with the graphs and all law for diminishing marginal utility. Thank you.